President Biden speaking to the nation, saying the war in Afghanistan is now over, saying it was a promise he made, a promise he kept, saying he refuses to, quote, send another generation of America's sons and daughters to a war that should have ended long ago. Speaking of the courage and bravery of American service members who served in Afghanistan and paying tribute to the fallen. 2,461 U.S. service members and civilians lost. Their lives, of course, the 13 service members included in that attack last week. The president saying, I take responsibility for the decision after the U.S. and the world witnessed the rapid fall in just 11 days to the Taliban and the dangerous evacuations, saying, quote, there is no evacuation from the end of a war without the kinds of complexities, challenges, and threats we faced. Tonight, the Pentagon now releasing this new image of troops preparing to board that very last flight out of Kabul airport just before midnight, Kabul time. And this image overnight of the last U.S. service member out, Major General Chris Donahue. Shortly after that last flight, the Taliban moving in to take full control of the airport, entering a hangar full of U.S. military hardware, abandoned U.S. vehicles and aircraft, the Pentagon saying they've all been demilitarized, aircraft that will never be flown again, vehicles that will never be driven again. Tonight here, the case made by the president today, the tough questions now moving forward. What about the Americans still there? And what about any potential terror threat? What does Afghanistan look like from here? ABC's Chief Global Affairs Correspondent Martha Raddatz leading us off.
Tonight, President Biden defiant, doubling down on his decision to pull all U.S. troops out of Afghanistan.
My fellow Americans, the war in Afghanistan is now over. I'm the fourth president who has faced the issue of whether and when to end this war. When I was running for president, I made a commitment to the American people that I would end this war. Today, I've honored that commitment. It was time to be honest with the American people again. We no longer had a clear purpose in an open-ended mission in Afghanistan.
24 hours ago, in the darkness of the Kabul airport, the last American service member leaving.
I refuse to send another generation of America's sons and daughters to fight a war that should have ended long ago.
And no apologies for the violent and chaotic evacuation.
I take responsibility for the decision. Now some say we should have started mass evacuation sooner. And couldn't this have been done in a more orderly manner? I respectfully disagree. The bottom line is there is no evacuation from the end of a war that you can run without the kinds of complexities, challenges, and threats we faced. None.
The president calling the evacuation an extraordinary success, but acknowledging up to 200 Americans were left behind despite his promise to get them all out.
Since March, we reached out 19 times to Americans in Afghanistan with multiple warnings and offers to help them leave Afghanistan, all the way back as far as March. The bottom line, 90% of Americans in Afghanistan who wanted to leave were able to leave. And for those remaining Americans, there is no deadline. We remain committed to get them out if they want to come out.
The president reminding all that former President Trump wanted out of Afghanistan as well and had struck a deal with the Taliban for Americans to leave.
That was the choice, the real choice, between leaving or escalating. I was not going to extend this forever war. And I was not extending a forever exit. I believe this is the right decision, a wise decision, and the best decision for America.
Martha, you and I were on the air as the president was addressing the American people late today. I know you're back with us tonight with late reporting, and I know the president has said for the Americans who do remain, the administration saying fewer than 200. The president saying there is no deadline for Americans who remain, that he is still committed to bringing every American who wants to come home, home. But that effort just got a lot more difficult.
It did, David. At this point, the Kabul airport has not even fully reopened, and the U.S. is suggesting evacuees try overland routes. But the president said they have leverage over the Taliban through economic pressure and the Taliban's desire to be recognized. David?
Yeah, but that is a big test moving forward.